Welcome to today's financial news update from quantbyte.io. The corn market finished the session with slight losses, down by fractional to 2.25 cents. The national average cash corn price fell to $3.69 1/2, while December contracts closed at an average of $4.18 since October. Soybean contracts have seen a slight recovery, rising by 2.5 cents from previous levels. November soybeans are now averaging $10.18 per unit. The national average cash bean price also increased by 1.75 cents to $9.33.75 per unit. Soy meal futures data is not provided in this report. Cotton futures have declined by 16 to 35 points across most contracts due to ongoing market pressure. This dip in cotton prices coincides with the U.S. dollar index increasing by $0.273 to $99.005 and crude oil rising by $0.63 per barrel. Additionally, President Trump has announced a new tariff on Chinese goods, imposing a 100% duty. The wheat complex declined overall, with most contracts experiencing minor losses. However, back months showed strength towards the end of the session, while CBT soft red wheat futures lost a fraction of a cent to 2 cents. Live cattle futures continued their upward trend, gaining 35 cents to $2.22 on Monday. The cash cattle market also showed signs of strength, with prices closing at $234 to $235 per head across most of the country. The major U.S. stock market indices showed significant gains, with the S&P 500 rising 1.56%, the Dow Jones Industrials increasing by 1.29%, and the Nasdaq 100 advancing 2.18%. Additionally, December S&P futures rose 1.47% and Nasdaq futures also experienced a notable increase, albeit unspecified. The U.S. dollar index, DXY, rose by 0.27% as the Trump administration expressed willingness to negotiate a trade deal with China, easing trade tensions and supporting the dollar's value. However, the sharp rebound in stocks reduced demand for the dollar due to increased liquidity. Cocoa prices showed mixed results last week. December ICE New York cocoa futures declined by 26 points, 0.44%, reaching a 20-month low. In contrast, December ICE London cocoa futures rose by 23 points, plus 0.56%. This mixed performance follows a 2-month decline in global cocoa prices. Corn futures have declined by 1 to 2.5 cents mid-session, with most contracts facing downward pressure to start the week. The national average cash corn price has also dropped by 2.5 cents to $3.68 1/4 due to market conditions. Live cattle futures have risen by $1.70 to $2.22 at midday on Monday. The cash market for cattle closed last week at $234 to $235 across much of the country, with higher prices in the south, $236, and north, $239 to $240. Feeder cattle futures also increased, ranging from $1 to $2.15 higher. The wheat complex is experiencing steady trade, with minimal changes observed across 3 exchanges. Soft red wheat futures on the CBT and Kansas City hard red winter, HRW, futures are seeing slight declines, but overall the market remains unchanged within a penny range. Cotton futures are trading mixed, with December prices increasing slightly, while other contracts decline. This comes after a 146-point drop for December last week. The U.S. dollar index has rebounded, reaching $98.965, and crude oil prices have risen by $0.76 per barrel. Soybean prices are steady to slightly higher, with the national average cash price rising by 1/4 cent to $9.31 1/4 per bushel. Soy meal futures have fallen by $1.20 per ton, while soy oil has increased by 65 points. BioCryst Pharmaceuticals has agreed to acquire Astria Therapeutics in an all-cash and stock deal worth around $13 per share. Albertsons Companies, Incorporated reported an increase in second quarter earnings compared to the same period last year, also surpassing market expectations. Stay informed with quantbyte.io for the latest financial news.